At the height of the pandemic back in April, the government introduced additional fortnightly payments of $550 for people receiving a range of welfare benefits. In September, that was reduced to $250, and from tomorrow, the payments will again be slashed to just $150 per fortnight.
We cannot afford further cuts to the incomes of people who have the very least in the community.
The minister in charge of Centrelink payments insists there will be a safety net in 2021.
As we come into the new year, there's a lot of things we need to balance. But primary of those is getting Australians into jobs.
On January 4, JobKeeper is being scaled back, and a controversial scheme allowing Australians early access to their superannuation is ending. Government insists the New Year's reduction to JobSeeker doesn't constitute a cut. But a payment that started out in April at $550 will tomorrow be just $150. And as 2021 approaches, there are still far more people looking for work than there are jobs available.
I couldn't agree more. Our government spending is ridiculous. Now that's a lot of advertising for just 1 year. But I get it, politics stuff, they're going to end up paying for it and whatnot, right? What about stuff for the people? Well, $30 million is a lot of money for 4 people at that time. So all in all, $1.2 billion on fewer than 300 people, that's like $4 million a person. I don't even know how many billions of dollars would be spent on this runway in Antarctica. But oh yeah, that definitely needs to be a cutoff point. Oh my God, does there need to be a cutoff point for this government and its spending? Whoa. You're telling me that people on JobSeeker will be using that money to buy drugs and alcohol? Well, I say test them. If they're using that money to buy drugs, test them, and if it comes up positive, they should immediately be given a job in the Department of the Treasury, because they are clearly a better financial manager than anyone working there. Sherlock Holmes over here sees a conversation of people saying how these payments aren't enough for people to live off of, and in your head that somehow means that they're spending it on some of the most expensive stuff Australian money can buy. And last 2 things, if you're living at the poverty line, I'm not going to blame you if you want to escape your reality. And people with jobs buy drugs too. Right, this is for the person that left this comment and for anyone else who can relate. Especially if you've got a great resume. I'd like to tell you, or rather confirm your suspicions, that it is not your fault. And we'll have a look at long before the pandemic, before shit hit the fan. Job seekers for around the same period, and we look at the total of all people. So this time 2 years ago, there was around 466,000 people looking for under 250 available job positions. Recent numbers say that there are 200,000 job vacancies. Almost 1.4 million people not in the workforce wanted a job. One comes at you with the, oh, there's jobs out there, be sure to hit them with the, yeah, not enough though. I love this comment, so I gathered some receipts and we're going to make a TikTok out of it. Okay, this is from the budget, the COVID-19 response package, income support for individuals, and so this is for JobSeeker, and it says over 5 years they're going to spend $16.8 billion. Considering they want to stop it real soon, I don't know how the 5 years factors into it, but yeah, it's $16 billion. And then we've got JobKeeper, which was given to employers to keep employees on the books, and it was about $1,500 a fortnight. And JobKeeper is going to cost us $85.7 billion, and it doesn't even give us a time frame. And now if we think about this for a moment, we're giving $85 billion to people that have jobs. And we're only giving just under $17 billion to the job seekers, to people without jobs. And this is just comparing JobKeeper and JobSeeker. Don't even worry about all the nonsense of the spending. So yeah, what was that about government spending? How much? Huh?
Cliff Fraser used to be a long-haul truck driver until injury and illness ended his career.
Overnight, I literally went from $120,000 a year to, I think, about $16,000 or something.
In the years since, he's had to sell his house and other assets to stay afloat, picking up part-time work and making wooden items to sell at markets. He managed to keep his car, but he couldn't afford to keep it regularly registered until JobSeeker.
It meant that I was able to get a part-time job. I wouldn't like people calling me a dole bludger.
When Newstart was reborn as JobSeeker, it was still $282.20 a week. But on top was the coronavirus supplement of $275 a week. In September, that supplement dropped to $125, and in January it will drop again to just $75 a week.
That's going to put a lot of people in a very, very bad place.
Oh, you don't say that the 12 million number of working Australians is bigger than the 1.5 million number of Australians looking for a job. And that's if we were to wrongly assume the entire workforce was eligible for JobKeeper. But don't let any of this distract from the issue that the 1.5 million Australians that are looking for a job are kind of screwed because there's only 250,000 job vacancies. I don't know how this mutual obligations thing is meant to work out for a lot of people. And that brings me back to the cutting of the payments for people that don't have a job. That's the problem. Have a nice day. That's the thing, mate. I'm not on Centrelink. I don't know. So I'm very grateful that people are sharing their stories with me in the comment section, because I actually care about people and I want my taxpayer dollars to go to helping them. Now, pretty sure it's my post that the comments are on, so if you don't like them, you can jog on and go off and snort some smegma or whatever it is you do. Yeah, that will solve the problem. Alright, okay mate. Good job. Hi mate, welcome to the conversation. Lovely horses you have, by the way. We've discovered that there aren't enough jobs, these rates are too low for people to live on, and that the government does a lot of wasteful spending on a lot of other crap. So, yeah, very useless comment. Have a nice day. That's how you're going to get blocked, because I don't really need you here harassing people that are kindly telling me their stories. Don't need that. Get lost. No worries, and thank you for sharing your stories with me. I do think it's wild that it's like, we want to work, but there's no jobs. Nah, you're just lazy and you should get a job. That said, I see where Australians get that mentality from, because there is some potent propaganda out there. Examples.
It's a dole bludger. And it looks and acts like a dole bludger. It's a dole bludger.
Dole bludgers.
It's on the dole.
It's dole bludger locations.
A dole bludger can...
Australia's dole bludger capital.
Like a dole bludger.
The nation's top dole bludger capitals.
On dole bludgers. The term dole bludger. What's the term dole bludger? The term dole bludger.
Dole bludgers.
Dole bludgers in Australia. Was a dole bludger? Cracking down on dole bludgers. To penalise dole bludgers. Dole bludgers. Dole bludger and foal bludger.
Apparently to come to the conclusion that's a bigger problem than people just not wanting to work, you need to be able to think for yourself. And I just want to note that 20 plus 10 plus 5 plus 5 is 40, the old rate per day. I came back to look for this heartbreaking comment because it's been on my mind since I made this thread of TikToks. Because I've always said it's unfair to make older people have to compete in a workforce against younger people, because obviously we know who's going to get hired. And then our Prime Minister does that whole payment scheme to get people under the age of 35 more jobs, when all the statistics say that the people that are like 45, 55, older to the pension age are the ones that don't get hired. I personally think you've already paid your debt to society, so why can't we look after you now? Which leads me to the mutual obligations bullshit. Because it's nonsense and cruel to say to keep your payments you have to keep looking for jobs that aren't there, and to be exempt from the job search you have to pretty much already have a job, which doesn't make sense because that just means the government is subsidising people's wages. I thought the point of this was for people that didn't have a job, so if you have a job, why aren't you being paid enough? I'm so sorry the Australian government's packed to the brim with cruel assholes and shitheads. This is horrible.